The movie Alpha portrays a young man who's injured on a hunting trip with his tribe and becomes separated from his people. He befriends a lone wolf with a shoulder injury, a wound the young man had inflicted upon the wolf defending himself from its pack. Together, they endure the treacherous prehistoric landscape trying to find their way back home before winter. The young man names the wolf Alpha, and the film portrays the domestication of humans and wolves, which ultimately leads to the domestication of dogs. Both the young man and the wolf have an injured limb that they must heal from, and both are abandoned by their tribe or pack. They must rely upon one another for survival on the slow journey of healing. The reason the two were left behind is because of the nature of their injury. The young man's tribe believe he's dead, or as good as dead, because he had fallen a great distance to an inaccessible area, and it would risk their own lives to attempt to rescue him. It was safer for the greater good of the tribe to leave him behind.
And the snows fall and the white winds blow. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
In the series Yellowjackets, viewers have experienced several examples of severe injuries, which take some players out of the game entirely. In the pilot episode, Allie Stevens is a freshman who plays on the varsity soccer team and isn't quite pulling her weight as the team prepares for the national championship. Taissa comes up with a plan to freeze her out and force her to play under pressure. Unfortunately, when Ty slams into her opponent during practice, Allie falls much harder than anticipated, compound fracturing her leg, preventing her from participating at nationals, and therefore she never got onto Flight 2525 with the other Yellowjackets. Allie broke her leg, and the team left her behind. Later in the episode, Shauna confronts Ty about her plan while they're at a kegger the night before the Yellowjackets depart for nationals, calling her a sociopath for breaking Allie's leg. After the plane crash, on the group's first night in the wilderness, Mari stepped away from the rest of the group to disassociate momentarily. Ty comes to check on her, and Mari points out that she did a big favor for Allie by breaking her leg. This is ironic coming from Mari because later in the series, Mari leaves the group after Shauna spits in her food and she falls into a pit, popping her knee out of socket and leaving her injured until Coach Ben finds her. Coach Ben, interestingly, also suffers a leg injury after the plane crashes and his right leg is crushed beneath debris. Misty makes the quick decision to help him when she grabs the plane's emergency axe and cuts off his leg below the knee. This leaves him dependent upon Misty for the first several months that they're out there, but as the other girls descend into their wilderness rituals and traditions, he refuses to participate in the cannibalism and makes himself an outsider from the rest of the group. Eventually, he works up the strength to leave the cabin and the group behind, making his way through the snow to find the cave where Javi had hidden for several weeks following Doomcoming. All of these examples point to a subtle theme running throughout the series, of members of the group injuring a leg and being faced with isolation due to their wounds. The Yellowjackets aren't known for their sympathy, and such a severe injury leaves victims vulnerable to the group's mercy. Wolves live and hunt in packs, and they work together to bring down their prey for sustenance. However, when a member of that pack is significantly injured, wolves have been known to abandon weak or injured members of their pack, particularly when a foot or leg injury occurs. This slows down the entire pack and heightens the risks of losing food with a weakened member participating in hunts. When Ty and a group of survivors depart to find their way out of the wilderness, they're attacked by wolves in the middle of the night. Ty was meant to be keeping watch, but she had gone into her alter state, something she was still pretty unfamiliar with at that point in time. Ty had unconsciously taken Van's bone necklace that Lottie had given to her for protection and was wearing it herself while up in a tree when she came to. After fighting off the wolf that was attacking Van, the group feared she was dead, and they nearly burned her on a pyre. Thankfully, Van woke up before the flames could consume her, but she was left severely injured and scarred. The rest of the group ran ahead for help as Ty and Van slowly made their way back through the forest. Van begged Ty to leave her behind, very similarly to the other examples of these leg or foot injuries.
Leave me.
Javi carved a small wolf figurine for Shauna after she shared her paper and drawing materials with him back in season 1. Javi used those supplies for his artwork, depicting a cave within a tree, which led Coach Ben to the cave's location, where he lived for several months until the girls took him prisoner. They believed Coach Ben had burned down their cabin, which is a mystery that still remains. Side note, I'm pretty sure I know what happened there, but we'll talk about that in another video. The Yellowjackets took Coach Ben prisoner, where they tied him up in the animal pen, and Shauna and Melissa cruelly cut the Achilles tendon on his one remaining leg to prevent him from escaping.
He won't be going anywhere.
These examples show a different side to the idea that the wolf would simply abandon their pack members to illness or injury. The proverb of the two wolves explores this further. This is an analogy often attributed to Cherokee elders, which describes an internal battle between two wolves, one representing positive attributes such as love and kindness, the other encompassing negative attributes like anger and fear. The proverb concludes that the wolf who wins this internal battle is the one you feed with your thoughts and actions. Thaisa stayed with Van to ensure that she made it back to the cabin because she loved Van, but also because she felt responsible for her injuries. Interestingly, Van sought isolation after being treated for her injuries, ashamed of the others seeing her in a weakened state, which seems like a smart move, to be perfectly honest. Coach Ben is their prisoner and ultimately punished for crimes in which his guilt is more than a little questionable. He's mutilated and kept in filthy living conditions, but the group still go through hoops to keep him alive. They feed him and apparently keep his wound clean enough to heal up. His suffering is torturous and prolonged for an unavoidable ending at the behest of Shauna strong-arming the group during the trial. So we have to wonder which is worse under the circumstances, a quick death or the slow inevitability of hopelessness. I mentioned before that it was ironic when Mari pointed out that Allie was the lucky one after Ty broke her leg. This was on the first night out in the wilderness, so Mari meant that comment in what we can now only interpret as naivety. She meant that Allie was lucky to have missed the flight, which ultimately led to the plane crashing. Allie didn't have to go through the plane crash, which up until that point was the worst thing most of them had ever experienced. Mari had no clue at the time just how bad it would get out there, and the truly ironic thing is that she would have it worst of all, in the very pit where she fell and injured her own leg. But those are just my thoughts, so let me know yours in the comments below. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!
It's not like skipping a party's gonna unfuck Allie's leg.
No. I mean, you'd have to leave me behind, I guess, but whatever.
Fuck Mari.
This is all my fault. I'm really sorry.